So that's how we met.
Chicken butt.
And we told the chicken butt story.
Didn't?
Kind of. And the clown story that we hate clowns. And
but there's so much more than that.
There's so much more than that. So much more.
So I was going to say that during that part of me getting to know Ashley, I still didn't know if we were going on dates or if we were just friends, because she kind of had said some stuff very early in me getting to know her that, you know, she was such a busy person with everything, and that she seemed like she had dedicated her life to so much more, and like to the ministry and her music and just praying for others and serving others. And I didn't know if that was just something that she had taken an interest in me because she knew that I had just come back from the walk to Emmaus, and that based on my past that I had shared with her, how deeply God was calling me to help and serve others.
Yeah, no, that's not what that was. You know what that was? That was, I had so much given up on a guy ever showing up in my life that I had my schedule filled morning, noon, and night, zero margin for a guy to show up. So you show up on the scene, and I was like, I met this awesome guy, and I can't even see him for like 3 weeks because my calendar is totally booked up morning, noon, and night. I at least need to tell him that it's not you, it's me.
Well, so...
And so he took that as maybe I wasn't interested or something like that, and I was like, no, I really, really want to see you, and I can't because I have promises I have made. And so it took me 3 weeks just about to finally clear my schedule out, except I think we did finally find like a window of time, like on Sunday between the hours of like 2 and 5 or some crazy thing like that,
Yeah.
where we finally got to meet up. But I mean, I had to make some room. I had not been planning for that. That's how that was from my side. On his side, he was like, maybe she don't want a relationship right now.
I thought she was going to be like almost like a spiritual mentor, you know, or as a friend, and she was giving me personality tests and all this stuff, but I was kind of just feeling that out to see how we were going to land, and it just slowly kind of hit. I mean, I guess I'm a little slow because I was just thinking that we were going to be friends, but then I was like, wait a second, I want more than that, you know, and you know, because I have gone through everything that I've gone through, and I really knew the type of person that I wanted to be in a relationship with, that I wanted to have in a friendship, and that I was looking for in a woman. And she was like, check, check, check. And so it just kind of took on a whole new life after that. And you know, it just...
A whole new life. You know you were thinking it.
I promise I won't be singing.
Yeah.
I might do a split.
So, I'm like, where do we go after that?
Well, so the reason I was saying all that, squirrel.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, I was busy with life, she was busy with life, but we kept trying to make time for each other, and so we continued to develop a relationship and like a courtship, and yeah, I just quickly realized how amazing she was, and how I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted her in my life, and I was kind of like convincing myself it was going to be okay if it was just a friendship, because that's how amazing she was. But I wanted more, and I kind of had mixed feelings or confidence even of whether she felt the same way about me. But she finally.
And my version of that is, you know, I'll get into this a little bit later, but I had waited a really, really long time and didn't just date. And the way that I felt about him was I would have moved very quickly, but my version of quickly is not somebody else's version of quickly, because I had waited a really long time and had not been in a relationship with a really long time, because I only was ever going to enter into that when I knew it meant something, where there's a possibility of getting married.
Yeah.
So for me to say yes means, even to more in a relationship, means I know that you're somebody that I could spend the rest of my life with. And I wanted to say that, and so it carried a little bit of a different weight than hey, let's go out. I mean, for me it was, I kind of knew from the friendship side as that was growing that it was about to be more serious. And I think the night when it really came together, probably for both of us, and we can figure this out later, but there was a night when Aaron was asked to do a video testimony of his story, which he'll share in a minute. And it wasn't as much about you telling your story or what happened in your past that led you to who you are right now. For me, what it was about was the fact that you had considered all sides of it, and that you were willing to take the risk, that you were willing to talk about your faith, whether or not other people were with you in that, or whether or not you would be rejected for things that happened in your past. When you made that decision and crossed over that line and said, I'm going to talk about my faith regardless of what anyone thinks, there was something about that night and you making that decision and you crossing that threshold that to me was like, I couldn't fully join up with you until your heart was in that place, because I've always known that my life is not just about me. It's about serving other people. It's about being willing to talk about my faith and share amazing things that God has done in my life. And not every guy is up for that. You know, once upon a time, I used to be a youth pastor. I mean, it may be hard for some women to date guys when they have a kid or 2 kids. Well, I had lots of them. And what guy is going to sign up for that? But at the same time, there's no other life for me than to be able to include many people in my life and to share that kind of heart. And it really was, when you crossed over that threshold, I was like, okay. So we had kind of gone out on a date or 2 before that, but when he made that decision that night, that was the night where it was solidified for both of us. And that was actually the night of our first kiss.
Yeah. It was a very scary thing for me to give my testimony, because it was a part of me that not a lot of people knew about or know about, and it was my first step out into public with that story as a way to fulfill what I think God was calling me to do. And I was very vulnerable and unsure of myself and nervous about it. And here's Ashley, you know, sitting right next to me, being my cheerleader, and had her arm around me and just like, you know, Dave, it's going to be okay. Just, you know, tell your story, be yourself, and it'll be received the way it was meant to be received. And yeah, I couldn't have done that night without her being there by my side. And that was a pivotal moment in our relationship, because an incredible amount of trust and comfort was felt that night from me, you know, on the receiving end. And I felt like, if here's this woman, hears my story, sees the heart behind it, and she's still positive and still loving me with open arms and a big heart, I was like, this is the woman that I want to be with. And I was head over heels at that moment, and I was still kind of spinning from the nervousness and the whole moving part of that night. And I remember afterwards just kind of hugging her in the parking lot outside of the church, and was kind of an emotional wreck, you know, and I didn't really know how to put all those pieces together and figure out what just happened. But, you know, looking back on it and listening to you talk about it, it was kind of a defining moment for us as a couple, because there was so much trust I felt with her, and comfort and safety, and you know, after she can tell her side of the story, I mean, there was a lot of that I feel like I can provide for you as well, and you know, I love that. I love the fact that where I'm weak, she is there to be my cheerleader and to be my rock, and for me to do that vice versa. And you know, that's what finding, you know, a spouse or a wife or your loved one, that's what it's really about, is to encourage one another, to strengthen one another, and to be their biggest cheerleader and confidant, and to know that they're always going to be there out of respect and love. And that night was just a real defining moment in our relationship for that. And if anything, that's what came out of that night, then that's a beautiful thing, because I think moving forward, we both have the heart to want to serve and help others, but I always tell Ashley, it's like, it starts with us, you know. If we are out trying to save the world, but we don't take the time to love and strengthen one another, then we're not going to have the energy, and we're eventually going to run out of energy, you know. And I think that's what was happening with you, is that you were trying to conquer the world on your own, and
before I met you.
Yeah, and so it just, you didn't have somebody there to kind of refill your tank and to support you when you were weak and when you needed love and support. And you know, and I love to be that for you. And so, you know, that was just a really cool moment, and an answer to so many prayers on my side too. You know, I don't really know how to begin, but just to begin. And
Here's your testimony.
yeah, I mean, it's really kind of at that point, you know.
Yeah.
So